Hi everybody, welcome to my kitchen for a little bit of self-care Sunday thoughts. And I'm in my kitchen, so I've been wondering when to do this video today, and normally I'd have done it this morning, got it done earlier today on my doorstep as usual. I was doing something else and I was trying to think then when should I do it. And I thought, oh, I'll do it a little bit later, I'll do it in my therapy room. And then that didn't happen. And then I came back and I was like, oh, I can do it while I'm doing dinner. Because one of my really key lessons in mum life is balancing mum life with self-care, nurturing, balancing and juggling all the things, the mum life, the responsibilities, like a work-life balance if you also are employed, either outside the home or self-employed, any of that. Like, how do we do it all? How do we do it all? And sometimes that's half the challenge. And I thought one of the best ways to know that it's possible is to experience it being done. So here I am. I think sometimes we have this concept of self-care being a spa day, a day away from the family, a day of really in-depth, something that may take lots of planning, lots of forethought. Maybe it is expensive, maybe it's we feel like we shouldn't do it because we've got small dependent children, you know, and you're a mum with a baby or a toddler. The idea of going and, like, yeah, having a spa day, having a day, having your nails done, having a pampering massage, having a day away from the family. Sometimes that triggers that selfishness feeling that oftentimes we feel like self-care is selfish, or it's something that we shouldn't prioritise. And they're inaccurate reflections of what self-care really is. And I think that's why I feel like it's really important to show, like demonstrate what self-care is, to flip the script, to show you that you can practice self-care anywhere, anytime, doing anything free, or, you know, not spending any more money on it than you have spent on your family's food, or your family's, like, your home, or anything else that you're doing with the family. Because I think one of the really, really important things to learn and see and know is that right here, right now, while I'm chopping potatoes, if I wasn't talking to you guys, I could be practicing self-care. And how is that possible? How can I be in my kitchen preparing food for my family and practicing self-care? Because surely self-care has to be something that you do separately, that you do alone, that you do in like with a setup and a plan and all that stuff. But what if it isn't? What if that's how we're setting ourselves up for failure? What if that is how we're setting ourselves up for feeling like it's impossible, like it's out of our reach, either financially or time-wise or energy-wise. Like, what if we're setting ourselves up for not doing it, not practicing consistent, regular, really powerful self-care, because we've set ourselves up to believe that self-care has to be outside of the home or away from the family, something that we have to do when we're on our own. What if we're setting ourselves up for feeling like it's unachievable because we're under this misconception that it's a big deal? Now, it is a big deal. Self-care is a huge deal. But that's why you should be able to do it anywhere, anytime, anyhow. Free. So what am I doing, or what would I be doing if I wasn't talking to you guys? What would I be doing that I call self-care while in my kitchen prepping food for my family on a Sunday afternoon? Okay. Well, this is where flipping the script is really beneficial, because it's how you show the everyday things. It's how you amplify the everyday things that you're doing into big acts of self-care. So, one of those things, I have like five top tips for self-care, which I talk about a lot. I have like a free process that I do called the Self-Care Love Fest. That's five top tips for self-care. You can find them on my website when it's back up and running. One of those tips is drink water. Okay? Hydrate. Doesn't necessarily have to be water, but it does have to be hydrating. Not tea, not coffee, not alcohol. That's not self-care. Although it can be. Not knocking it. If you get yourself one really nice warm, maybe not hot because maybe you don't want to drink it hot, but one nice hot drink or one refreshing cold drink a day undisturbed, that's self-care. That's how you make it every day. But sometimes we have to rewrite the script. Like, I don't get the time to sit and have a drink. Why don't you get the time to sit and have a drink? Why don't you get the time to sit and have a drink? Is that just a story that you're playing for yourself because you're overwhelmed and stressed out? Or is there genuinely so little time in your day? And if there is, if you've got yourself to that point where you're so caught up in the everyday mum life stuff, or caring for other people, maybe it isn't children that you've got, maybe it's somebody else who's a highly dependent individual, you really do need to sit and reassess your life as to why you are writing that story for yourself. Because even if you do have somebody who is disabled, sick, in a really bad way, physically or mentally, and you're their primary caregiver, even then there are ways and means. It is known you need respite. This is why they have places where you can take long-term chronically sick people for a week or 2 weeks so that you as the caregiver get respite. This is why they'll have extra additional care staff come into you so that you get respite. That's why that's a priority, and it should be. If you are in a high care role of some description, self-care should be your priority. It really should. Above and beyond anything else. You need to be well, you need to be healthy, you need to be rested, you need to feel worthy of yourself of this. so that you are in the best optimal place to care for those that you're caring for. You can't care for somebody if you're sick or worse. You can't. So you have to be in the best condition you can be to do those things. So that's why I show you that it's simple and it's easy. And it's as simple as a glass of water in a wine glass. Come on. You saw my video the other day and said, like, I stopped drinking alcohol. Maybe 7 years ago now. We have a beautiful collection of wine glasses. This isn't one of my beautiful collection of wine glasses. I broke one of them. But nevertheless, I have a wine glass. And after several months, years of not drinking alcohol, I had these wine glasses sat in the cupboard, and I did have and do have a really pretty bottle. I have a crystal bottle which I really like and love, and used to drink water from that, but I find it quite awkward, and it's a glass bottle, and actually here, come to think of it, not using it, we've got a concrete floor with a rug in the living room, which is not, that's how I broke a wine glass. Making the water drinking a luxurious event really, really amps up the self-care with drinking the water. So how do you do that? It's simple water. You know, it's nothing exceptional. Well, you can make it exceptional by putting a little bit of elixir or essence in it of some sort. I've done that in the past. Maybe if you're really stressed out, you can put some rescue remedy in it. That's like a super, super powerful homeopathic way of using rescue remedy, by just using 2 or 3 drops of rescue remedy in a glass of water. That's your self-care, and it can help calm your nerves and your stress and your anxiety, and it's amazing. I've used that in the past, not recently, but in the past. I have 2, maybe like a bottle worth, I bottle our water to refrigerate it, and I'll drink like a 500ml bottle without, like, just as it is. But then after that I will put salt in it, pink salt. It's like my saliva a bit, but a little pinch or 2 of pink Himalayan salt, or sea salt you can use too, not table salt. If you're ever putting salt in your water, don't use table salt. And that is just a really simple way. I really need to start actually cooking the dinner. It's just a really simple way to add make your everyday thing you'll be doing self-care. It's the intention that we put into these mundane everyday habits and practices that we do. Maybe you don't drink enough water. I'm a big fan of timers in my phone to remind me to do this shit, because I'm notoriously bad for remembering to do it. When I got out of the habit, when I began to neglect myself and got out of the habit of drinking water, I needed a means to remind myself again that I should. And even now, this is maybe 5-6 years on from my increasing my water intake again, I still need a reminder to do it, unless I'm actively doing things that I know I need to drink water. So like when I'm at my therapy room and I've got a day full with clients, I will drink plenty, because first of all, I'm giving my clients water after their sessions or during their sessions. And secondly, I'm in a cafe where I'm surrounded by drinks, and I'll think, oh yeah, I'll have some water along with my coffee or my matcha or whatever else I might be drinking. So yeah, make your mundane, everyday care that's, you know, not a big deal, something special. I also have my awesome like cauldron mug, which I drink my coffee and cacao in, which also feels kind of cool. So if I'm here in my kitchen cooking for the family, there are other things that I'd be doing, as well as probably drinking a glass of water. I often am listening to something. I'll be listening to some subliminal music of some sort, or I might be listening to something that I have been a part of that maybe I'm re-listening to. I might be listening to an audiobook. And while I'm cooking the food, I've begun to learn to, and it's took some practice, because sometimes we are cooking because it's a mundane, boring, everyday job that we've got to do time and time and time again, because for some reason these offspring that we produce continually need to eat, and so does the husband. Like, it's switching out how the way that we go into cooking the food and beginning to see it as a caring, loving thing that we're doing, and not something that we have to do because we've got to keep everybody alive, or like we're doing it out of resentment. When we're doing it and we start to do it and infuse the food with love, like we're actually infusing the food with that love when you go into it. So if that you're there and you're in the kitchen and you're listening to subliminals that maybe are reaffirming your self-love, or you're infusing your own water with codes of, you know, I am worthy and I'm deserving and I'm wealthy and prosperous and I'm happy and successful and all of that, you're infusing that into your water and drinking it, and then you're infusing that beautiful energy into your food as well, and into the food your family is going to consume, because the energy that we put out when we're preparing the food is going into the food. So if you're resentful and angry and frustrated and bitter and full of like all those energies that we're sick of seeing in the family, you're literally putting that energy back into the food that they're going to consume, that's then going to fill them up and continue to perpetuate the cycle of them being playing up to the point that you feel all of these things. And that's why it's an act of self-care to prepare the food from a place of love and from a place of self-nurturing. And when we do that, we're filling the food with love, which is filling our family with love, and we're filling ourselves with love, and it's a self-care practice. Now this is the one thing that I want you to take away. It's making the everyday, the things that you do every day, at some point a caring and nurturing self-care practice. Take a glass of water and go and sit on the doorstep for 2 minutes and just enjoy whatever state the weather is at the time that you're doing it. I've done it in the rain, I've done it in the crisp wintry weather, I have done it in the sun, I've done it in all weathers. Just sat on my doorstep and just breathed in a little bit of self-care and self-love. Breath, breathe in. Breath is another one of my big self-care tips in that top 5. Breathe in. And this one I know you can do no matter how stressed out or busy or anxious or overwhelmed you are, because even if you're in a hospital situation trying to save somebody's life, you have to take a breath before you can save somebody's life. So there's always time to take a breath. and it's saving your life, and it's saving your family's lives, and it's saving the lives of the people you care about. So stop and pause and take a breath. You're going into a meeting at work and it's like super stressful and super anxious, and you're actually afraid that you're going to lose your job. Taking a breath is going to make it all feel less stressful. Even if you do walk out of there with your job, with no job, you'll feel a lot less stressed if you have taken some breaths first, because your nervous system won't be in the state of fight or flight. It will be in a much more open and receptive way of going, okay, I lost my job, what do I do now? What does this open up for me to do with my life? Maybe there's a better job out there that's just begging for you to have it, and that's why you just lost your job. So that's my little bit for today. I'd love to know your thoughts and feelings and reflections on this. And what little thing can you do right now, since it is Sunday, and maybe you're getting ready to send the kids off to school tomorrow, or maybe you have some other plans. They are still at school, aren't they? Unless they're year 11 and they've just left. Yes. Difficult when your children don't go to school sometimes to know when the school holidays have started and when they're not. And yeah, what little practice of self-care can you implement right now? And it might be what I'm going to do while my potatoes boil. It might be what I'm going to go and do now. Sit on the doorstep for 5 minutes and take some deep breaths with my Himalayan salt water. Pause for a sip. And it might be doing that. And if whatever it is, make it small enough that you can do it every single day for the whole of the next 7 days till next Sunday, and see how you feel. And you can build on it, and you can make it bigger. If you've got a day where you've got more time, you can make it bigger. Do more on that day. And let me know how you go on next week. That's it. Have an amazing Sunday evening or Sunday day if you happen to be watching this and it's only just Sunday, or it's Sunday afternoon and I'm thinking it's like 5 PM now. I don't think it's only just Sunday anywhere now, is it? It's Monday for half the world. Yeah. Let me know what you think. Cheers.